Guys, so welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a bit of a different video today. Some of you have noticed, because I've had a few messages, that I've not been online. I've been really quiet on social media. I haven't done any Instagrams or anything, and haven't put up any videos on my channel. The reason for that is, as you can see in the title, this is something that was not planned, and I had originally planned to keep it really quiet from everybody, like from all members of my family. A bit like I did with Albert, we kept everything very quiet for a very long time, and I think initially I struggled to kind of get my head around it. So yeah, I just wanted to keep it quite quiet, I think. However, things recently haven't gone the way they should do, and it's not looking likely that this pregnancy is going to be viable. I sit here quite calmly talking about it because I've got my head around it now. I've accepted it, and I think I have to say the fact that I already have two beautiful children already, I realise how incredibly lucky I am, and things in life happen. Our family have dealt with a huge amount of heartache and upheaval, and as you guys know, if you followed our journey, my husband has had quite a lot of problems with his physical health and also has a really rare form of blood cancer. So we're really used to, and plus other things in our life, we're really used to kind of bad things happening. So it definitely has made me really strong, and one thing that's really helped me get through is to appreciate the things that I already have. I have two beautiful sons, and that's really helped me at this moment in time. 3 weeks ago, when I was 3 weeks pregnant, I found out that I was pregnant. I have no idea what made me take a pregnancy test, because I was a week early. It was a week before my period was due, yet something told me to take a pregnancy test, and I have no idea why that is, because even when I was trying for Albert and Sebastian, I never took a pregnancy test early because I was so frightened that it would be negative, but something told me to take a test. I did come over feeling a bit wishy-washy, so I went upstairs, took a test, and it was a very faint positive. From that point, because it was a faint positive and it was a week before my period, I started then getting paranoid about line progression, which is something that's never happened before. I've always had very strong pregnancy lines because I've taken my pregnancy test at the time of my missed period. So I started getting, I started to get pregnancy by pregnancy test, getting obsessed with the line development. They didn't pick up at the beginning very quickly, but then they did. I don't know how fast or slow lines are supposed to progress, but I'll try and leave some images down below, or images here. So yeah, they did eventually pick up, and my clear blue went from 1 to 2 weeks, eventually to 2 to 3 weeks, around the time of my missed period. So I was pleased with that. Then at around just before 5 weeks, about 4.5 weeks, I started getting pain on my right side, and this pain, I didn't think much of it at first because I've had corpus luteum cysts before, which are essential for pregnancy. They are the side that you ovulate off, and it's the cyst that kind of supplies all the hormones to the baby. So I've had those before, they've been quite painful, but this pain kind of went on and on and on. It was all down my right side, and it just became what I can only describe like a toothache, but in my side. Not like agonizing, but enough that it was really starting to bother me. So at 5 weeks exactly, I went to the doctor, and I was then taken straight to hospital, and they did a scan, and in the scan they confirmed that there was nothing but a gestational sac. And the gestational sac, I mean, I was exactly only 5 weeks, so that's kind of normal, but the fact that it was just a gestational sac meant that there wasn't a yolk sac, so it could be that the pregnancy was anywhere. At that point, the pregnancy became a pregnancy of unknown location. So you can still get what's called a pseudo sac, a gestational sac in your uterus, even though a pregnancy is developing elsewhere in your body. And I also had my hormones done. They were 3,888 or something. 2 days later, so 48 hours later, they expect the hormones to double, sometimes at least up to 50%, but mine only doubled like 35% to 5,000 and something. And again, they did another scan, another internal scan, and that the lining had thickened and the sac had grown, but again there was nothing in there, so it doesn't look like the pregnancy was progressing anywhere near what it should be doing. Then another 48 hours again, so by this point I was like 5 weeks and 4 days. They did another hormonal test but no scan, and it had only gone up even less, so like 28%, 25% or something, so even less, to like 6,000 and something. So at that point was when I kind of did my crying and accepted that the pregnancy wasn't going to happen, and now what they call a pregnancy of unknown location. So until they see a yolk sac, they will treat it as if it is in an unknown location, so typically an ectopic pregnancy. So I am still in quite a bit of pain. I'm definitely not in as much pain as I was, but I don't know, but it kind of comes and goes. It's always there, but sometimes I noticed the last few days at midday, it kind of really calms down and then it picks up. It's also in so many different locations. So if you press your hip bone, if I press my hip bone, press into my hip bone, it really hurts. It's really tender. Sometimes I feel the pain up near my gallbladder. Sometimes I feel it a bit further down, and in my back. And I also at some point last week or in the last few days had like what reminded me of sciatic pain. So yeah. Also, in the first scan that they did, they noticed there was free fluid on the right side, and free fluid can be a number of things. It could have been fluid from a cyst that burst on that ovary, although my left ovary has a cyst, so it may be that I ovulated off my left and something's happened on my right, I don't know. The worst thing is that it's blood, and blood from an ectopic pregnancy, where it's either ruptured or not. If it had ruptured, I'd probably be in hospital and it would have been taken out by now, but you know, where it's kind of embedded itself, or even from my abdomen. So the second scan, that fluid had gone. So I'm not quite sure kind of what to make of that. I've been back and forth. No, they've not really said anything. They've said just to wait until Thursday. So today is Tuesday, Thursday is the day of the scan. Thankfully, Chris is going to be able to be with me, because the first 2 scans he wasn't able to be there. I had to be there on my own, so that was pretty crap. There's 3 kind of different things that can happen here, and in my mind I've accepted the fact that this pregnancy is probably not going to happen, and so now my number 1 priority is, well, what treatment do I need? How long am I going to be kind of ill for or unwell for afterwards, therefore away from my children, or not kind of fully being there for my children? I think that's the thing that really upsets me the most right now. And so it's either could be that it's ectopic and it just hasn't ruptured yet, or it just hasn't progressed yet, because ectopic pregnancies don't tend to show themselves until a little bit later on. The fact that, so is it ectopic, or is it just a blighted ovum, which is when the sperm meets the egg and then nothing kind of happens? It doesn't like progress. Or could it be some miracle happens and I am still growing a baby in there, and we get there and there is a baby? But again, then I'll still feel very cautious. I'll probably not feel like I can get my hopes up because of the slow rise in my hormones. And I have heard stories, and apparently 15% of women whose hormones don't increase or don't double every 48 hours go on to have healthy babies. So there's lots of things that could happen, lots of different eventualities. I've never had my hormones taken before, so I don't know what is typical for me. I've never kind of been scanned as early as 5 weeks. I've had scans at like 6.5 weeks and always seen a baby. So if we don't see anything, I will have to assume that we'll have to all assume that it is ectopic. If it is ectopic, they'll probably need to go in laparoscopically, I can never say it. So kind of like keyhole type surgery to see where it is. My hormones completely point in that direction, because with ectopic pregnancies your hormones rise, but they don't rise they rise much slower. So my hormones are doing exactly what an ectopic pregnancy would do, and obviously with that pain on my right side, it's kind of all pointing to that direction. The odd thing is that I have cyst on my left, which could suggest the ovulation on my left. So has the egg then travelled to my right fallopian tube, or not even there, just embedded itself somewhere else on the right that it shouldn't be? And is that what's happened, or did I or is it all just a big cyst or something? I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. Another thing that occurred to me as well is the fact that I'm still breastfeeding. Now, I'm not breastfeeding Albert very much, literally every other day. Like, his feeding is massively dropped. He still has the odd kind of feed in bed in the morning. Now, breastfeeding does not cause miscarriage in any way, shape or form, but it does lower your progesterone. So in most kind of women that are breastfeeding, usually are eating a little bit more, they're taking care of themselves, they've got a good diet, so their hormones are okay. Many women go on and have children and tandem feed, you know, and it's not an issue. But my diet has never been the best, and I have had issues with my hormones. I recently, I think I mentioned it in a few videos, that since I cut down from feeding, well, since my periods came back when Albert was 9 months old, I started developing kind of acne around my face. And I'd say in the last 4 months, it's turned into really severe cystic acne all around the side of my face, around my chin. It was just really, really bad, all behind my ears. And I went to the doctor and he gave me some topical antibiotics, and it's completely cleared it. So I'm sure that that's hormone related, because the more I cut down my breastfeeding, the more that happens. So I think my hormones are just all over the place. I've started supplementing with B12 as well as obviously folic acid, just to try and help things. I know B12 can help boost stuff. It's been an incredible stressful few weeks, and it's really put me in the position of people. And I know 2 people right now who have been through IVF. One it's been successful for her finally. The other one who's currently going through it. And I know that they've experienced multiple losses, and to have to have gone through all that, to lose and then to go through it again, I just can't imagine how difficult it must be. And my heart really goes out to anybody who has struggled with that and who has experienced any kind of loss. It's really, really difficult. I have my 2 beautiful sons. I have those 2. It's definitely helped me kind of take my mind off what's going on and just look at it as what we have got. We've got a lot in our lives. In terms of updates, I don't know when I'm going to update you. I'll find out Thursday. If it isn't great news, I'll need to kind of just get my head around that, but it'll definitely be before Sunday. It won't be an edited video or anything like that. I'll just get on camera and update. That's really why I've not been online, and I have to say it's taken my energy and my enthusiasm for anything completely away. I had some videos scheduled, I had a collab scheduled, there was loads of things that I had been planning, and I just haven't been able to do any of it because I can't think of doing anything when I've been in pain and so anxious and worried. It did make me think that there's probably a few things that I'd quite like to do, another video that I'd like to do that's probably related to TTCing, but things you shouldn't do on TTCing. One of the biggest things that I massively regret doing was testing early. That has just done nothing but fuel my anxiety, unnecessary anxiety. I tested with cheapies and they were like coming up negative but the first responses were coming up stronger. It really messed with my head. So I'm going to do a few videos kind of about that. I've learned from this whole process has really kind of opened my mind to a lot of things that just feed anxiety in those kind of early days. You know, I've Googled like you can't begin. I've Googled so much that I'm not Googling anymore because I ask every question. At the end of the day, only my body knows what it's doing. And only my body knows what's going on, and what will be will be. Like, me Googling isn't going to change. It can give me a positive story, maybe a bit of a kind of positive outlook on the better situation that might happen, but it's not going to change anything of that is happening. When I had the scan at 5 weeks 4 days, they did say that there had been some growth in the uteri, in the sac. There was no fetal pole, no gestational sac. So to me, that sort of rings alarm bells. I'm not completely sure of my dates as such, but I am sure that I know when my last period was, and I know that I tested a week early. So, and I've been pretty regular with my periods. So, you know, lots of the time they say, well, your dates are probably wrong, but I feel like I'm sure of my dates. So let me know if you've ever been through this. What was your experience? I probably sound like I'm being a bit kind of blunt and blasé, and I guess I am, but like I said, I have to be strong for the children. I have to try and stay calm. I have to just focus on what will be. And I've done my bit of crying. I've done the kind of getting really upset about the fact that the pregnancy may not happen. So I'm kind of just, yeah, I sort of feel like I've been through that bit, and I will, like I said, I'm going to keep you updated. Let me know what your experiences were. Did you have blood tests done at the beginning? Did your blood tests double, or did they not double? You know, I'd be really interested to hear anything, you know, from you guys on what your story is, and yeah, what helped you get through it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I am a parenting blogger, mum of 2 boys aged 4 and 18 months, and I do loads of parenting style videos, things involved around zero waste living, and frugal living, and yeah. Anyway, take care guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.